just to get some kind of conversation going. You know, we're always talking about the bigger picture, bro. It's not about us, man. It's about leaving something behind that other people can find 20,000 years later and say, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Fuck these guys, but, you know, I dig the conversation.
Indeed. That's right.
You know, I don't know. Starting off, I guess, with the, the Book of Enoch, trying to talk about, I don't know, not saying that the earth is flat, but they at least are talking about that there's a realm that we're in. That's what the angels were telling him.
Enoch, you say?
Oh boy. The great grandfather of Noah. Uh yeah. Enoch has Lamech. Lamech has Methuselah. No, hold on, bro. I'm tripping. It's interesting. Everyone always tries to guesswork. You can just Google it real quick.
Yeah.
The descendants of Adam. Because I believe either Enoch or Noah is the seventh son of the seventh son, like something like that. The descendants.
Well, while you're researching that, I was in the hospital last year, and this is gifted to me from my family when I was on the bed recovering. And it's a book about, they got it at the gift shop there at the hospital, but it's a definitely encouraging book. It leaves scriptures, and it also has a summary of kind of what the scripture means or breakdown. So today, and each day, each page is marked by the date, so you can follow along throughout the year. But I haven't been too consistent with this book, but today I figured we can read a scripture. This is from Psalm 119, 28 through 29. My soul is weary with sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. Keep me from deceitful ways. Be gracious to me through your law. Yep. And then
And where was that found?
That was found in Psalm 119, verse 28, 29. And then in the summary in this book, it says, to whom do you turn when you feel completely disheartened? Turn to the word of God and his commandments. There you will find renewal. Even the psalmist who was weary and laid low in dust, Psalms 119:25, found renewal in wanting to know more of God and his ways. In the secular and self-assured world we live in, despair is fairly common. Even when you feel most discouraged, seek God's help to enable you to fully understand this truth. God knows about our discouragement and despair, and he will handle every situation that comes our way. God of comfort, I weep from sorrow and despair. Encourage me through your word. Amen.
Amen. There you go, dude.
Yep. It's the book's called Grace for Today, and UCLA Harbor Medical. It's a decent place to, be in case of traumatic events that we hope not to experience, but you never know. But yeah.
UCLA was founded by pedophiles, but that's a totally different story.
Okay. we're just talking about the good things.
It's always the bigger picture, bro.
It's the bigger picture. The pieces to this whole crazy thing.
The genealogy of Adam. Adam has Seth. Seth has Enos. Enos has Canaan. Canaan has Mahalalel. Mahalalel has Jared. Jared has Enoch. Enoch has Methuselah. Methuselah has his son Lamech, and Lamech has Noah. So Enoch is the great-grandfather of Noah, who walked 365 years with God, in constant hand-in-hand with him. All right.
Interesting.
Interesting though that David basically like wrote out the last of his life pretty much just like talking about his conversations with the Lord.
Mm,
Pretty much what Psalms is.
yeah.
Basically just, he's off into the wilderness, just off on his own and just having conversations with himself and reflecting on whatever he's done. You definitely have to be in some kind of weird headspace to want to send off some dude just to die just so you can take his wife.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird headspace. It's like, bro, you could, like, you're the king. You can get whatever bitch you want, bro. Like, why are you trying to, like, that? I don't know.
I feel like back then it was a little different, Mac, because it's just there was no everything was just raw. Like there was nothing. When you see something you like, you kind of just want it. I'm sure that's how it was back then. So yeah, like especially for David and your king, and he just justified his position, and that's why he had to pay the consequence because yeah, you can't get away with stuff like that. It's just something that, yeah, you'll get that punishment for.
I mean, bro, it's one thing to, the homie dies and you got to take care of his wife. I mean, that's even in the Quran, right? That's where he gives the context of,
Talking about David, right?
well, I'm talking about David, but like also, when Muhammad is given his vision, like he's given the context that like it's acceptable to have multiple wives in the sense that during war times, if your homie dies, it's not your obligation, but if you want to take care of his wife and like his kids and whatnot, like you can grow your family in the, I guess, in the spirit that you're not doing it out of selfishness. You're doing it because you love your brother that much that you want to take care of, his wife as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, you just want to get it on with, I don't know. But,
Yeah.
it's all given, a positive context.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what's interesting, though, about the Book of Enoch is that as he's living his life, he's being visited by these archangels who take him in this weird vision of, like, they take him to a place where he's understanding the beginning of the world, the end of the world, and literally at the edge of the world.
Mm.
Most people like to cap this off as, well, that proves it that the earth is flat because he's like being led to an edge where he can like look out from the edge and he can see, the whatever the ice cap is, and then suddenly it's outer space, but you can see that there's like an edge to it. Clearly it must be flat. But the guy is tripping, dude. I mean, the guy is low-key hallucinating on a level that it's you have to look at everything from a spiritual context. The streets are not paved with gold and towers made of emerald. That's just the best you can come up with as you're coming back from your trip to write down something that, that you saw. As the streets aren't gold. Like there are no streets. But you have to like conceptualize it to a third dimensional context.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They say that it is one of the most important non-canonical apocryphal works and probably had a huge influence on early Christian, particularly the Gnostic beliefs. The real book or the real Bible really should have about 125 books if we're going to believe that all of these people were given the Word of God.
Yeah.
Now, remember that Constantine was an evil person who was just the remnants of the old Roman Empire. These are the feet of clay. This is the feet that was on the tower from Babylon, from Nebuchadnezzar's vision.
Mm-hmm.
Clay can neither be created nor destroyed, in the sense that you can't, like, it doesn't come from anywhere. It's just a mixture of different materials that is, when you solidify it in the sun, it can be hard, but then as soon as you melt it, it can be reformed again. So it's never being destroyed. It's just moving on to another form. So the Roman Empire never falls. It just continues on into something else.
Yeah,
Meaning the Constantinople or the Byzantine Empire, which starts the Vatican.
yeah, the energy needs to be transmuted. It can't just, that spirit that rules that agenda. I guess it needs to reincarnate in some way into something else, just like how we see things operate.
Unlike gold, silver, and bronze, though, those things, are, strong metals. They're powerful. They have, psychic powers. They have, vibrational energy, but they are entropic, right? Entropy can destroy them. Gold is something that can die. Silver dies, bronze dies, but clay doesn't get created. It just keeps on flowing. And so that's where we are today.
Yeah.
The Roman Empire eventually becomes the Vatican in about the year 1100 AD, when it, officially solidifies itself. So the important thing to always remember, though, is that Revelations and the Book of Enoch is technically the same book, because they were given pretty much the same vision. And God is not an idiot, because he knows that in the future they're not going to remember the Book of Enoch. And so he had to give John another vision of pretty much the same thing. But basically everything that's written in Revelation was in one way or another written and spoken to in the Book of Enoch. And that's why the one man, or the only other man besides Elijah, who was taken up in a chariot of fire and never saw the face of death, because he walked with God in tandem perfectly for 365 years.
Mm.
For example, just putting up, picking up chapter 7, for example. So, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. And they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells. Probably some kind of, translation.
Yeah.
Who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. And then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. That's a lot to unpack right there. Only 6 verses in one chapter, bro. Where do you want to start?
More the wives, so they actually had a ceremony to be considered wives, or they just, I don't understand, like, or they just came down and just fornicated, did some things. That's why I
That's a
don't
great
understand.
question.
So for them to put wives, that has like authority. Like I don't understand like that part. So that's what I'm kind of confused on.
Well, what is marriage, right? Is
Yeah,
it because you have a ceremony? Is it because you have paperwork? Or is it because you have this spiritual energy that binds you to your partner?
yeah. Because yeah, I mean, in the beginning we didn't have marriage. It just did it as we should do, and so Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why the Nephilim or whatever, they have some kind of protection as well because they married or I don't know. I'm just saying some random stuff, and that's why they're still have some kind of like power or leverage.
Hmm.
I don't know. Because yeah, supposedly yeah, when you're married, when the kid's married, that's the whole part of like not having your kid out of wedlock because yeah, you don't get that same blessing or protection if you're not yeah if your kid's like if your kid isn't coming to this world you know through marriage something like that because you see the pattern of people like kids that are just like born into this world without any kind of structure. You notice how that's different than like a family that has that order, like marriage and these principles. So I mean, it makes sense in ways. I remember a lot of people got offended because I was younger. I didn't really care about other people's like beliefs or opinions, so I kind of always stayed in my own beliefs. And I was the same. Like I forgot what I said to this girl. It was like through Facebook. Said something about like yeah, it's not good to just to have babies without having like a marriage. And then she's like, oh, I hate people like you. Something like I don't know.
You know what? This is the reason I hate people like you.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, dude. Hey, man, I'm just telling you my opinion, man. You don't need to hate me. Jeez. It's your problem.
Yeah.
Um, no, but that gets into the larger point. Like, what is marriage, though? Is it because you have a ceremony, or is it because, like,
Yeah, well, my girlfriend she was just telling me like marriage is just like a thing for like economics or whatever for people for marriage and families. They want to make sure they're getting with people that are gonna keep excelling through their you know through the ways, man. But yeah, that's another thing on why certain people marry at a different time. But I don't know. I think marriage changes over time, the meaning of it and the purpose of it.
well, I
Now,
think the original marriage, though,
the
that
original,
is that was Adam and Eve, though.
yeah, yeah,
There was no ceremony. It's just they found each other and they loved each other that deeply.
yeah,
Like you consider that person your wife before you even put a ring on her. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like that's what that is. You've already like spiritually confirmed within yourself that that is your wife, that is your husband, that is your partner for life. For this reason, a man shall leave his mother and father and cling to his wife, and they will become not two but one flesh.
yeah,
That's a spiritual conversation.
yeah,
You're not just asking like the ritual, the progression, the tradition, whatever of like you getting the ring. That's all great. Like you can do whatever you want. You know, have
yeah.
like a
As
week long ceremony and shit. But you've
yeah,
already considered that person your wife.
yeah, yep, yep, yep.
So, and all the others took with them. No, and all the others together with them. See, that's interesting. And all the others together with them, the fallen angels, the 200, they took unto themselves wives. I don't know. Are you seducing these women? Are these women coming through? Are you taking them? You know what I mean? Are you like, in the non-consensually? Are you doing things to them?
And well, I'm sure they just like manipulate. Like obviously they're manipulating them. Uh, I know her. I'm come back later, okay? Because I'm recording, okay? I see you. Yep. Okay, Nora. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Nora. Nora. I'm recording. So go to mama, okay? Oh, I'm not gonna work. What? Well, you can come back later, okay? And then you can play Sonic, okay? Give me 10 more minutes. Okay? Love you. Come on. I need you to be quiet in here. Okay. Okay. Can you close the door, please?
That's the whole point, bro. Little things like that happen. You got to just roll with it. You got to keep that, bro. Um, So, and all the others together with them took unto themselves wives, and each chose for himself one. Well, at least these angels were monogamous. At least these fallen angels were, that must have been, there must have been like that many chicks back then that are like, yeah, bro, like, we don't have to like, share. Like, you can just have one for yourself. Like, we're chilling. And they began to go in unto them and to defile themselves with them. All right, so they were doing anal at that point, bro. You know? And they taught them charms and enchantments. So, see, the thing is, if you're teaching, see, that's the crazy part, bro. If I first have to like set a circle, wait until the moon is at a certain point, and draw a pentagram upside down on the seventh latitude and longitude, you're putting too much work. See, that demon doesn't have power then. Because if you have to do the ritual, then he needs you. You don't need him. See, God just appears to you. That's why God is that much more powerful. He reveals himself to you. He doesn't need you to like do some crazy like, thing for him to show up for like 5 minutes under an enchantment. You're giving the demon that much power then. See, if anything, what you're actually doing is the demon is already inside you and you're just manifesting yourself as a set apart body entity. Because you're the one putting in the work. You're the one doing these things to get, these people to suddenly, appear before you. You're already the demon. And they taught them charms and enchantments and the cutting of roots and made them acquainted with plants. All right, man. So it's one thing to smoke weed. It's another thing to, I don't know, like treat weed as a religion. They got acquainted with plants.
What scripture is that, or what book?
This is the book of Enoch, chapter 7. And so it only has 6 verses.
Oh, you're reading the book of Enoch.
Mm-hmm. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is where this is what the angels are telling him. So this must have been like, so you're living already in a time where people are doing these rituals, and so for you just think of it as normal. Like it's an everyday thing. And so when these angels are speaking to you, what they're doing is they're actually explaining to you where this all came from.
Yeah.
People just didn't suddenly come up with, oh, if I, do this and I do this and, and then I draw this and, they're explaining to them like, nah, people didn't come up with that. Let me explain to you who told them how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
That's not to say that these rituals aren't real. Obviously they are, because clearly if you're bathing in children's blood and whatnot, that's a real thing that you're trying to like manifest.
Yeah.
But you didn't come up with it.
Yeah, you're provoking spirits around for sure.
And they became pregnant, and they bear great giants. Giants could either be, real giants, Nephilim, hybrid children, demigods, whose height was 3,000 ells. Could be giants, so it could be like Attack on Titan, where like, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. So what happened was, because these giants were so large, mankind ended up... So Project Bluebeam is what that is. Meaning, there's these great giants, and so the world unifies under one world government to please and appease these giants.
Yeah.
And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. So when we no longer have enough gold to satisfy the needs of these creatures, then attack on Titan. Then they come through every, oh, today's the seventh, month of whatever. It's time for them to feed. Don't get caught slipping, kind of thing. And then they began to sin against birds. Okay, so interesting. So the fallen angels have the Nephilim with the women, and then the Nephilim start mating with birds and beasts and reptiles and fish. That's where we start getting all these creatures then.
Yeah.
So the Minotaur is a creature, and so Medusa is like the Gorgons. Those are the love children of the Nephilim and snakes. Or no, was it that Hera gave the Gorgons? Wait, no. Right? No, Hera gives the Gorgons the snake heads or something, or is it just the curse that that when you look at them, you turn to stone. Hold on. Hera curses the Gorgons. Let me see. Medusa, once beautiful young woman, cursed by a jealous chief god Hera into becoming a hideous Gorgon. Okay, never mind. So Medusa. Okay, so Hera turns them into Gorgons who were ugly, whatever, who have, snake heads. And then, she was raped by the sea god Poseidon. Okay, hold on. It was a disgusted... Okay. Interesting. In other translations, Athena was raped by Poseidon, and then Hera got mad at that, and so she cursed Medusa. Interesting that women are always hating on each other, though. Interesting. Then again, that could just be the translation because men don't want to take responsibility for what they did. Hey, man, don't blame me. She's the one that turned her into the Gorgon, bro. Like, hey, man, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. And then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. And then we began to go to war against the giants. And then eventually we started building alliances with them, so we go to war against each other. And then that's where we get into Genesis chapter 6. And Azazel, this is chapter 8 now. So, and Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth. Interesting. So the archdemon Azazel was the one who taught us how to use swords, because otherwise, what? I'm just going to use a stone, dude.
Yeah.
We're going to use stones to kill each other. But then he said, nah, man, what if I taught you how to do this? Oh, damn, bro, that's crazy.
Yeah. And all that stuff came from other beings, those ideas, all this stuff. I feel like it's all inspired by. I mean, our brains are capable, but I feel like we're being influenced as well.
Well, because Cain killed Abel, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly, seemingly pretty much like with either like rocks, or he beat him up with his fist, like something. Like it was
It was a club or something, right? Or something, some kind of
something. Like eventually, then when we start going to war with each other, then Azazel teaches us how to like use knives and like sharpen these metals
Yeah,
to
to
like,
make it more effective, more efficient to kill and slaughter.
instead of just stones and clubs. Interesting. The art of working them. and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony. Oh, what is antimony? Antimony.
Yeah.
The chemical element of atomic number 51. The brittle silvery white metalloid is a chemical element, lustrous gray metalloid found in nature mainly as sulfide minerals, stibnite. The antimony compounds have been known since ancient times and were powdered for use as medicine and cosmetics. There we go. So the demons teach the women how to
Like,
use antimony.
makeup.
Exactly. And the beautifying of the eyelids and all kinds of costly stones and all coloring tinctures. That's where we get it. Because otherwise, what? It's just a piece of gold. Who cares? It's just a thing.
Mm.
It's just a thing of silver. Who cares? But for some reason, they told us, oh no, actually, bro, it's very valuable. And if whoever has the most of it, he's the more powerful one.
Yeah.
And then that gets into the ancient aliens, theory that the demons were just actually, aliens that terraformed their planet and they made us harvest our gold for their purposes.
Yeah.
And there arose much godlessness, and they committed fornication, and they were led astray, and became corrupt in all their ways. Semjaza taught enchantments and root cutting. Amarios, or Armoros, the resolving of enchantments. Barakil taught astrology. Kokabel, the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Arakil, the signs of the earth. Shamasil, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Interesting. Very interesting. Because otherwise, who cares, bro? It's just the moon. It's just a star. Who cares, bro? They're the ones who... oh, no, actually, they're putting meaning behind all these things that technically are non-meaning. Or they're not important, because all you need to do is just walk with God every single day. And he will reveal to you that, sure, these constellations are important, but I'll show you a power even greater than these superficial third-dimensional things, because it's still third-dimensional. You're still on a basic level by teaching people that, we're going to follow this star that does this. That's still basic. You're still doing basic knowledge.
Yeah.
Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitants cries their voice of the earth made without inhabitant cries their voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth unto all the generations of the ages, and thy name holy and glorious and blessed unto the ages. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel has done, who has taught all unrighteousness on earth, and revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven. which men were striving to learn, the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. And Semjaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon the earth, and have slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, anal, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. I don't know, DPs and spit roasting and whatnot. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now behold, the souls of those who have died are crying or making their suit to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. And thou knowest all things before they come to pass. And thou seest these things, and thou dost suffer them. And thou dost not say to us what we are to do to them in regard of those. A lot of old English there. They're basically as the demons are teaching us about weaponry, about makeup, about enchantments, about cutting roots, and all these things that are superficially mundane. That for some reason they told us, okay, this is where it gets interesting. So because they made us believe that God was trying to hold secrets from us, they made us think that makeup and weapons and enchantments are these secrets that God was trying to hide from us. When in reality, it's not a secret. It's just like, I don't know, man, like, do you need to know that pigs have three stomachs, and therefore, they have tapeworms inside them that they've evolved in order to, live with these tapeworms, and therefore if you eat this, you're not going to know how to deal with this tapeworm, therefore you're more likely to have parasites inside you, or it's unclean, don't worry about it, just don't eat it, it's unclean. Well, that's being very messed up, because you're not telling me the entire thing. All right, bro, do you want to sit down for the next, 17 years and have me explain to you like all this biology and micros? No? All right, then just trust me and understand that it's unclean. And so when they're trying to teach them all these things, they're teaching them with this predisposition that like, oh, like, we're giving you the shortcut to all this knowledge that you were supposed to be learning, but God is such an evil guy. He's so selfish that he wants to keep it all for himself. What, that, you mix these two metals together and somehow you get like sword? Like, okay, congratulations, bro. 1 + 1 is still 2. Like, it's not, you're not teaching me anything new. You're just telling me that the sun exists. Okay, cool. Congratulations. Oh, but God isn't even okay. But you're not teaching me anything different than what God would already teach me. You're just acting like you're the cool you're the cool kid in school. It's just like, nah, bro. Once I have Google, you're no longer the gatekeeper. And see, these demons are still treating themselves like they are God, in the sense that I'll teach you these things, but you first have to, give me your women. Oh, well, then you're not trying to see, then you're no different than God then. In the sense that, the same guy who was telling me that, oh, God doesn't want you to eat this fruit because then, you will be like God. So then you're telling me God is a gatekeeper. Okay, for sure. So I take the shortcut by eating this fruit. Okay, for sure. I'm just like God. Then why do I have to give you my women so that you can tell me secrets? Aren't you doing the same thing that God is doing, basically?
Yeah.
if you were trying to tell me that you're going to give me the shortcut to God, then why do I have to go through these rituals just to get this knowledge? Can't I just get this knowledge? Well, no, because, okay, now I see that you're doing some bullshit here.
Yeah.
Once you start understanding that, the Illuminati, these ancient societies and the secret societies and whatnot, they're no different than, I'm not trying to say that they're no different than God. What I'm saying is them acting like they're giving you the secrets, you should just give me secrets then. It shouldn't have to come with a price then, because if I'm doing a shortcut to God, then we're all gaining this knowledge.
Yeah.
But of course, we set up hierarchies and pyramid schemes and whatnot.
Yeah, bro.
It is the age of control. It's the age of, it's the age of deceit, because pyramid schemes still lead to a gatekeeper, who is then, the gatekeeper is still beholden to the word of God. So actually the shortcut to God is just following God.
Yeah.
I don't need someone to act like, they are God, and therefore I still have to do the same thing. Then why don't I just follow God? Maybe he'll give me the secrets of this, maybe he won't. But the point is, if I have to do the same thing to you that I got to do for God, then why don't I just follow God? See, if you're telling me that you're different than God, you'd actually be giving me this information for free.
Yeah.
Therefore, I would be forgetting God. But all you're doing is you're just telling me, like, if you were to mix together these certain things and put it on your eyelids and whatever, you'll be beautiful. You're creating hierarchies within women. You're creating competition within women, like unhealthy competition.
Yeah. Creating division within the human collectiveness.
Division, there you go. You're creating division within people. You're not actually bringing people closer to, this knowledge that God is keeping from you.
They're,
You're dividing me.
yeah, that's what they all do. So they don't want us to be in harmony with each other, and they want us to be in disharmony. They want us to be tripping out,
100%.
tripping out.
100%, bro. Now let's look at Genesis chapter 6. Hold on.
So so for these podcasts, I'm thinking like, what's your like set time frame for them?
I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Let me check something real quick.
We can technically break up like an entire 3-hour conversation into like 3 episodes.
Okay, so we're 43 minutes in right now. All right, so yeah, we'll chop it up a few more minutes.
I feel like the conversation can keep going. It just low key started, bro.
Yeah, yeah. No, we can definitely chop it up. Let me see.
And it came to pass. So this is Moses is coming down from the mountain, and he's being given this entire story by God, the cliff notes or whatever, to bring them to where you are now. The context is that 400 years have passed since the guy who led Joseph in here, and now you guys are being enslaved by another guy who's doing pyramid schemes and hierarchies and whatnot in slavery. And so I got to bring you guys up to speed to where you guys are now. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives, and they all chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man, for he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that. So what that is saying actually is that Before the flood, there were the Nephilim. And because those spirits keep on living, also after the flood, there were giants in the earth. And the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. And the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So Hercules was not Hercules. That's a story that the Greeks told themselves of the original Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
Osiris is Zeus, is, this guy, is that guy. It's all the same story, which are always trying to go back to the original mighty men, the heroes of old, the men of renown. God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts in his heart was only evil continuously. And the Lord repented that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him in his heart. The Lord said, I will destroy man who I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repents me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. So, going back to that book of Enoch chapter, where after they had made the Nephilim, and after they had set up these secret societies where one world government, new world order shit, where, we're working together so that we can appease these gods, after we failed to sustain them, they began to eat us and consume men, and and there was war among them. This is where that chapter, or that verse comes in, and they began to defile the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, and the reptiles and whatnot. So I will destroy man who have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping thing and fowls of the air, because they all were defiled by these spirits. You can't let anything remain on earth. I can't let any one of these spirits remain at all. I have to kill every single thing that is inside this earth, because everything was defiled by these spirits. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God, because Noah was the great-grandson of Enoch. Enoch's son Methuselah showed his son Lamech, who showed his son Noah the ways of God. Even though in that society at that time, it was evil beyond ridiculousness. Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, whatever. So we get to the flood. So the point is, Enoch was basically shown the entire history of the earth, from day one all the way until the sky opens up tomorrow and God reveals himself and, showers the earth with, balls of fire. And he was shown literally everything. So he walked, or he was shown the beginning of the earth to the edge of the earth. That's a spiritual, I don't know, symbolism, I guess, metaphor for the very end of the earth. Or it could be that the earth is flat, bro. Because I've never seen the earth. I don't know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The earth being flat doesn't negate the fact that God exists. The earth being a round ball of gas protecting us in the third position from the earth, from the sun, doesn't negate the fact that God exists. But if we're going to go off on that the earth is this, it's a gas ball that, whatever. Scientifically, they've proven that if the earth was 1 degree closer or farther away from the sun, we'd actually burn to death or freeze to death based on where we are. We're actually in the perfect position for life. because God's an idiot, because everything is by chance. Whoops, did I do that? Because, nothing is real, right? Based on your research, what do you think?
On what, the Nephilim and the what?
The Earth being flat, bro. What do you think?
Oh, I thought about the Earth being flat before. My thoughts is, I gotta say, it's a globe. Only because, or like some kind of morphed, thing that's like that, I'm sure it wobbles around and shifts. It's not a perfect thing because it's a living thing, so I feel like it's gonna be more organic looking. But no, I don't know though, because like everything in nature, like a bubble, like it's perfectly round. Everything is calculated math. So yeah, I feel like I mean, it makes sense that the Earth would be, to me, in my mind, I feel like it would be a sphere, a globe, because I feel like life, or like in just the pattern of things, or like they're always in a cycle. So a circle is like a cycle or a globe. So I feel, that that's another reason why I feel like because it can always rotate, and it can always, if it's flat, I feel like, I don't know how that would be orchestrated. I don't know, because I feel like as a globe, everything gets passed around in the world. Um, it circulates, so it keeps on shifting and changing. It can keep on living, pretty much, because of the design of the Earth, the layout,
Bro,
foundation of it.
repeat that. Because you said something really dope right there, bro.
What did I say?
Repeat that last sentence.
How the Earth shifts, like it's always you know. I mean, everything gets around the world, like everything spreads, and it's just like,
That's it.
yeah,
That's it, dude. That's it. It couldn't be flat because if it's a living organism, which it is, self-replicating and self-sustaining and shit, energies are always being shifted.
yeah,
It couldn't, if it was flat, then it would just keep on going back and forth like that. But it
yeah,
would be like this weird, it'd be this weird, like balancing scale thing that wouldn't make sense, because if it's round, it's constantly shifting and moving energies around itself.
yeah. Didn't just sit still. It has to keep rotating. It has to keep going. That's just,
It can't sit still.
yeah,
I like that, dude.
yeah, bro. Because if it sits still, we're all done. We're all done. We don't want to imagine what would happen. Uh,
I like that. If it was a flat Earth, we couldn't have, like, because it's a round Earth, everything has to be like, spherical, spinning and shit. That's why all our blood is constantly moving throughout our body.
yeah,
It doesn't sit still.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We have different.
It's always moving. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
It's always a circle. Everything is constantly just moving in a circle.
yeah. And it may seem like it's a circle, but it's constantly, we're going through a different, like, we're always changing. It's never the same. It's always yeah, yeah,
It can't be flat. I like that, dude.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah,
If it was flat, then we would always be the same.
yeah, yeah. I feel like there'll be no growth, no nothing. It'll be like a stage, and yeah, I feel like there's too much stuff going on to be a stage. I feel like things are too unpredictable.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh, totally, dude. Now, like, what I'll say to that is, like, day 3. Okay, let me bring up day 3. Genesis chapter 1. Antimony. Okay. So anyway, King James Version. King James was a pedophile. Let's also be real about that, dude.
Yeah.
Great, he put together the Bible. Congratulations. He touched children too. So fuck him.
I don't know anything too much about him, but that's pretty bad.
God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. The evening and the morning was the first day. Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. That gets into a whole other conversation, because pre-flood Earth, so you would be living your life doing whatever, going to these wars and whatever, sharpening these knives to go to war with each other. But you would always look up at the sky, and there was this like you would see this weird like thing above you. You know the clouds are right there, but then there's this thing above you even still that was so it was like a thin thing. It was like a thin veil, but it was this thing that had so much moisture in it that there was no such thing as rain back then. That's why they called him crazy when he said, yo, like, there's going to be a flood. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? There's no, what is this rain you speak of? Like, that's get this crazy guy out of here. Because there was so much moisture in the firmament that it could circle, again, it's all a circle. So it would circle moisture throughout the earth, that there was this mist that would pop up. And that's what would like, water the plants. You never would think about it because there was never really like seasons like that, because it was constantly the firmament that was, moisturizing the air and whatnot. Then when the flood happens, the sky literally opened up. The canopy opened and water fell down from the firmament. And so because of that, God got rid of the firmament. There was no need for it. It was just clouds, and then going up into the stratosphere, the ionosphere, the mesosphere, the thermosphere, space. Because there's nothing really protecting us anymore. Now we're at the mercy of the ozone layer. There was always the ozone layer, and then the firmament, clouds and whatnot, and then the earth. And because God repented and flooded the earth, the firmament was no more. Water shot down from above and shot up from below all at once. So you got hit immediately, and you hope that you drowned first. Bro, I ain't trying to be alive, struggling to breathe, and then there's a shadow above me of this thing that's in the water.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that, bro. I'm drowning, dude. Or hopefully some building falls on me and kills me, because I'm not trying to get eaten by anything in the ocean, bro, at that time. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Let me see. So, whatever. Hold on. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. So there was already a forest underneath the ocean, or like under the ocean. And that's why when he separated the waters, he's allowing for like water to collect, in the sense of like there's like surface water all the way to, deep ocean water.
Mm-hmm.
And then, below deep surface water is the water that's protecting us from the core, from burning us up from the inside out. So there's water that's cooling the earth just enough for then, underwater volcanic vents. And then there's deep water all the way up to surface water. And then the forest rose up, or the water, shifted down. The point is, there was a forest that shot up, and because it was in the dry air, it became dry land. But there was already land. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was already land, and God called the dry land earth. And the gathering together of the waters he called the seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, and herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is itself upon the earth. And it was so. So first you have self-replicating earth, or land, I guess, forest, that doesn't need a photosynthetic system. You know, how they talk about how, like, you know, plankton in the ocean does more photosynthesis than even the trees do. So technically, even if you were to destroy all the trees on Earth, you'd still be able to breathe because there's more microorganisms doing photosynthesis in the water. But all God is doing is actually creating more steps to having a self-sustaining organism that is the Earth, that is our planet.
Mm-hmm.
And the evening and the morning were the third day. Yeah, and God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let there be signs and for seasons and days and years. Okay, so there were seasons, my bad. So this is where people start getting into the flat earth thing. So he's putting stars in the firmament. He's not putting stars in space according to what this verse is saying. That's where they're going off of it. Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days. Okay. But there is no firmament anymore. And God set them in the firmament, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light. Okay, cool. So, day and the evening and the morning were the fourth day. So, there's 2 days of photosynthesis going on. On day 3, God is the source of light and energy that is like he is the sun. God is the sun. And then on day 4, or as he's doing day 4, he separates himself and creates a physical representation of the gravitational orbit thing that we all know today as the sun. God makes the physical representation so that he can separate himself and continue working throughout the universe. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that hath life. Life started in the ocean. Oh, you sent me something.
Yeah, I sent you something.
I mean, I guess, bro.
You see what I sent you?
A black white supremacist. Why knowledge of self is so essential. Oh, man.
You gotta watch.
Oh, man.
You gotta watch the videos.
These people are real, bro.
You gotta click the 2 minutes. Watch. Click the link. You play. Can you share it on your computer, like as a video?
I might be able to share screen.
And this is just a little detour from our conversation, but it's kind of relevant. You know,
No, it's all in there, bro. It's all in there. Don't even like it's all one conversation that's just going. There is no like format to this.
Yeah.
So don't even trip. We need to talk about like multiple things, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Click on the top part of it.
Are you sure you want to go there? Yeah. So I'm clicking on it. Oh yeah, Riza Islam. Yeah, yeah. Loading. Oh no. Where's the video?
Hit it. Go back to Discord. Jump out of that. Click the side. Click to the side of it right there. Like exit out of that. Close that. And then go back to your Discord. Discord. Go to your Discord. And then
Oh, okay.
click.
I'm tripping, bro. You sent me a photo and a link.
Yeah, click on the link. That's just the photo.
There you go. There you go. Okay, for sure, for
Right
sure.
there.
So
Yeah, click on the link, the blue. Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is.
Hey, bro, Joe Rogan has 3-hour conversations with his friends, so don't think that we can't talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're friends.
Yeah.
Fuck you, bro. No.
Alright, what's up with this? There he is. Let me see. Alright. Maybe I can open it. Let me see. Yo, Danny, are you there? Oh, snap. Yo, Danny. You looking kind of frozen, my brother.
Of the Sons of Confederate Veterans.
Regardless how the next person feel, I'm not gonna take my flag down. If I got anything to do with it, ain't no monument gonna come down.
Daniel Sims says he was adopted as a child.
My whole family's white. Went to all white school, grew up in an all white neighborhood. My father was white, and he was the main one that fought in this war here. And he's taught me everything I know.
He explains how he'd feel if the statues and flag were relocated.
Alright, well, we're going to have to cut this podcast short here. We're having some difficulties, but no worries. We will be back very shortly. Peace.